Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? It's so easy with Anchor.
Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use.
And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what we're doing right now by reading this ad. We struggled to find the right way to distribute our podcast, and Anchor made it quick, easy, and free. We're on platforms we had never heard of, and that's all thanks to Anchor doing the hard work.
So, if you have been thinking about starting your own podcast, head on over to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spilling the Mad Tea. I'm Kelly, here again, as always. We say this every time, with Rachel, Stephanie, and Katie. How's everyone doing? Stephanie, how are you?
I'm good. I spent the day at the beach, and it was very nice. I just started reading Crazy Rich Asians. I saw the movie, and it was good, so I'm sure I'll like the book. But yeah, it was a good day. How are you doing, Rachel?
Doing good. Tired as hell. Work was not fun today, so I came home and worked it out. So that was good. But tired. But you and talking about your book thing. I'm reading a book, guys. Like a real book, not like listening to it, like reading a real book.
Okay, and, I see you.
Right? You're going back in the dark ages. It made me think about it because you saw Crazy Rich Asians and now you're watching the movie. Well, I'm reading To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which I saw the movie on Netflix, and so now I'm watching the movie. I'm reading the book. Yeah, I'm watching the movie. No, now I'm reading the book. I'm excited to see kind of what the differences are because they're coming out with another movie. So I wanted to read the book and then read the next book before I watch the next movie. So yeah, I like doing that. But anyway, Katie, what's up?
I've been really enjoying driving my new car this week. I got a hybrid. I've wanted a hybrid since hybrids were a thing. And so I finally got a Kia Niro, and I'm in love with it. And I have an hour and a half commute one way to work, which sucks, but I'm really enjoying getting to know my new car and driving it.
Getting to know my new car.
Yeah, she's her own personality.
Aww.
I've been having a good week with that.
Does she have a name yet?
Snowy.
Okay.
Her color is snow white pearl, and so that she's Snow White.
Duh. Had to be.
Yeah, duh. Yeah, it just had to be. Kelly, how was your week?
It's been good. So Thursday night, my husband and I left to go camping in Telluride, Colorado with some friends. And I've never been there before, so it was really cool to see. It's an absolutely gorgeous city. Everywhere you look is beautiful. And we camped a little bit away from the actual town of Telluride. So we had a nice, beautiful drive into town every day. And my husband and his friends like to go mountain biking, so they did that a lot. And I just kind of hung around and chilled out with my dog and some friends that don't go mountain biking, and it was really nice. And I foresee a lot of paintings coming out of pictures that I took in Telluride.
Oh, I can't wait for those.
Yeah, your pictures look beautiful.
It was a lot of fun. That would be a cool place for us us as a group to go. There's a ton of Airbnbs there that we could go stay in, and
Ooh, I'm down for that.
It's really cool. Anyway, so we're happy to have you guys here today, and we hope that you enjoyed today's episode, all about the direction we think the Disney parks are going to be going in the future. But before we dive into today's topic, I've got a little bit of a random question for you guys. This one's a little off the wall, but here lately, I've been really, really getting into horror, reading horror books and watching horror movies. So I want to know, what Disney movie would you like to be made as a horror movie? What do you think would be cool? Ooh. And I already have an answer. If y'all want some time to think about it, I can give my answer.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Peter Pan. I think it could be really cool to be this completely horrific movie. I feel like with Once Upon a Time, they kind of took Peter Pan in a darker direction. So I could already see that kind of going that. He basically kidnaps Wendy and her brothers. So yeah, I feel like that could just be really weird, and like the Lost Boys could be like these grotesque, like half animal, half children things that they've like morphed into from being on Neverland for too long.
Ooh.
Yeah, and like Captain Hook could kind of be like the hero trying to kill Peter Pan because he's this evil kidnapping machine. So
Yes.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Do you remember how mad I was when Once Upon a Time made Peter Pan evil?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never watching this show again. He's like the definition of boyhood. No, like I stopped watching the show then and I never finished it. But I don't know, the way you're describing it sounds like it could be cool. And I think I would enjoy a Peter Pan as long as it was like a different company doing it and not trying to make it like Disney.
When I thought of this, it wouldn't be Disney doing horror. It would just be the horror version of a Disney movie.
Yeah, okay, I could get down with that then.
Yeah. So that's my answer for that. Does anybody else have anything?
I got one. So the first thing that popped into my head was Mary Poppins. Because I just think like that, the Disney versions of this story are like so like whimsical and colorful and like fantastic. So it would be really interesting to see like a horror take on Mary Poppins, where like you just have this nanny coming in and just like the kids think she's going to be all nice and friendly and she's not. She's like horrible and just like.
I could see that. That'd be pretty cool. I'd watch that.
It'd be different for sure.
That's
scary. I think it'd be really scary.
And the town keeps wondering why kids are like dying or something, and she's the one that's doing it.
A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down and stay down. The medicine is arsenic and cyanide.
So she always looks so young. She
sucks the lives out of children.
Yeah, I feel like it would be like a mishmash of like a bunch of different stories.
Yeah.
But I think that was the first thing that popped into my head.
I like it.
Katie, what were you going to say? What was yours?
I would like to see a Lilo and Stitch as a horror. Yeah, you could really like lean it towards like the alien kind of like, you know, like the alien movies and things and make it really like.
They could just reopen the ride and film it.
Basically, like we've already got the premise of the horror film ready to go. So yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Maybe the live action movie will have a darker take on it.
Ooh, maybe. It was made by like horror film people, right?
The writer of The Conjuring is writing Lilo and Stitch, so
maybe mine will come true.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
What about you, Rachel? Do you have anything in mind?
I mean, I feel like my answer for everything's like Pocahontas. I don't know why, but like that could be pretty horrible. Like they could like legit like be killing.
It could just
people.
be a documentary, really.
I like they could just be like smallpox blankets. There you go. Like,
yeah, just a very, very gory. Like, I mean, they should be shooting their arrows at folks and killing them. Like, I mean, instead of just.
I was talking about the white people coming and killing everybody because they did.
Damn white people.
Oh yeah, that too. I mean that too. But my answer is always Pocahontas.
I just think we haven't had enough of her. You know, we need more Pocahontas.
I mean, I
think
agree.
is what's going on here in any form. We'll take her in any form. We want more Pocahontas.
Cool. So thank you guys for indulging me in my little trip down the horror lane.
I hate horror movies.
I used to like not be able to watch them, but I started reading a bunch of horror stuff and watching YouTube reviews of horror movies, and now I'm just like, give it to me. I want all of the scary stuff. So yeah, that's where my mind's at right now. I bought the new It movie, and I've just been like watching it on repeat because
it's back in the theaters too. If you wanted to see it on like the big screen, I saw it in like special release in a theater.
I want to go. When the second one comes out next month, and nobody is gonna go see it with me, so I might have to go just watch it by myself.
Oh, that's not creepy.
Did you watch have you seen the original?
Yeah, I actually bought the original. They had it for $5 at Walmart, so I bought the original. It's like so cheesy though. Like it's not scary at all.
It's classic.
It's so cheesy, but the new one I am in love with. I think it's so good.
See, I think that if you had seen the older one a long time ago, like everybody else did, like you'd be like, okay, this is the greatest thing ever because it is really good. And I hate clowns like hell. I hate clowns. Oh my God.
Yeah, I do like, because I read the book. This is a tangent. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to leave this in or not. We'll see how I feel when I edit this. But I read the book, which was over 1,000 pages. And then like that just kind of sucked me in, and like I can't stop watching the movie now. Okay. Let's wrap up the horror talk. So, with all the near constant news that we're getting about all the newness that is coming to Disney parks, I wanted to take some time and talk about what we think the future of Disney parks is going to be. This episode is going to mostly be our opinions, pretty much, and we would love to hear yours as well. So be sure to stay to the end of the episode to hear how you can get in touch with us. So lately, I've noticed a shift away from more generalized lands that are being built, like Fantasyland, Adventureland, and Magic Kingdom, and Africa and Asia and Animal Kingdom, to more IP-specific areas being built. Examples like Galaxy's Edge, Toy Story Land, Marvel Land, and Pixar Pier and California Adventure, and then Pandora in Animal Kingdom. And I think kind of like on a competition base, I think with the opening of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter kind of ushered in this new wave of theme park additions. I feel like we weren't seeing these specific lands being made until after like such an immersive and specific land being Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade. After those were built, it was like, oh, well, we got to do like these very specific lands. So what are y'all's opinions on this? Do you like these IP specific lands, or would you like to go back to more generalized lands where multiple IPs can be worked in?
I'm not a fan of this. I feel like they're really limiting themselves. Don't get me wrong, it does work. Like you can really theme a whole area. I love Pandora. I'm absolutely nuts about Wizarding World. But I think if they're going to do this where the land is so very specific, it needs to be something timeless. I think Star Wars was safe. Like I think that's something that's always going to be relevant, and certainly they're going to make it always be relevant. And like
now at least they have to.
And like with Harry Potter, like I don't see that going anywhere. I feel like that's one of those like timeless kind of things, and like things with the Fab Five in them. That kind of stuff I think is safe to make it that like really specific theming. But like we've seen time and time again where they put money into a project and then 10, 15, 20 years down the road, like there's a completely different attraction in that space because it gets outdated. So what happens if they make this land or make this whole area and then in a couple years there's no excitement for it? Like I love Pandora, but let me use that as an example. You could have had an entire fantasy animal themed section where you could have been in Pandora and other IPs like Atlantis.
Yeah.
You know, and like that, it could have evolved with the times. And if Avatar became something that was obsolete, like it wouldn't have been such a huge thing to redo that. And it might not have taken 100 years to build either. So personally, like, I just think it's a wrong business move. I've enjoyed everything that they've come out with that's been super like hyper IP focused, but I just think from a business standpoint, I don't think it's very smart.
I agree with you with the limiting thing. Like I think it's limiting, but I also at a point I think too with the ones that they've done like Pandora, I think that it's really brought people's attention back to it too. So it kind of can go either way because it's been a long time since the movie was out, so they waited a really long time. But I think that it brought a lot of attention back to.
Yeah, I can see that working as like in a circle. Like people go to the park and are like, "Oh yeah, this movie." Mm-hmm. Then they go back and watch the movie, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, that park." So it's kind of in a loop there of trying to keep it relevant, I guess, specifically with Pandora, I would say.
Right, and I think with me too is I've never seen Avatar ever. Still haven't, and I love Pandora, and I still like just haven't went and sat down and watched that however many hour long movie. Like I just
with as much as you like Pocahontas, I'm surprised you haven't seen Avatar because they're pretty much the same movie.
But I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent about it. Like I like the theme lands; it's really nice. It immerses you in the movie, but like with Toy Story, like it's really great and wonderful, and I know that they had the plan to do it probably because the fourth movie was coming out and they wanted like to bring a lot of attention to it. But like it's been around for a long time. Yeah, I don't know if it's always like you said, Katie. I don't know that it's always going to be like a big thing. And here they've done it.
Yeah, and like
sorry, go ahead.
I'm a huge Toy Story fan. Like I'm a diehard Toy Story fan, have been since my childhood. But like First of all, I wasn't super happy with the fourth movie. And like, what are they going to do? Keep making these, like, keep pumping out these movies? Is it going to be like Toy Story 25?
God, I hope not.
You know, or is it going to be, you know, am I going to bring my kid to the parks and it's going to be like, what the heck is this stuff? So, you know,
I mean, and eventually I think it will get to that point because, like, us will, like, make our kids watch Toy Story, obviously, so they'll know what it is. But as time goes on, like, it's not going to be as relevant. And I think that they should do, like, how they've done the whole Pixar thing at California Adventure. Like, that is including so many different movies. It's not just one land like Toy Story. I think that you could do a whole lot more with a variety, like, not a specific land, like do a variety of them and include a lot of different movies. Like, it would be bigger, there would be more rides, there would be more things.
I think that's set up really well to evolve that area.
Yeah.
And you can still be like, have the specific IPs, but you know, in 20 years down the road, if one of them is no longer relevant and you've created a different franchise that's having sequels, you know, if we move on to several Frozen sequels, you know, that'd be a great place. Not Frozen, sorry. You know, like whatever sequels, and that'd be a great place to put that.
Yeah, so something that I've learned working in retail for a couple years was that people are wanting more and more of like a complete immersive experience when they go somewhere, whether they're just like buying pasta sauce. They want to know the entire life of the tomatoes that are going into that pasta sauce. Like, people want to know, they want these experiences. They don't just want to go pick that jar of pasta sauce up. I mean, I kind of just want to go jar of pasta sauce up, but people are moving away from just going and getting something to wanting to experience that whole process of whatever they're doing. And I feel like that's being reflected everywhere, especially in the new areas of the park. From the moment you walk into Pandora or Galaxy's Edge, you become a part of that story. And with such beloved and devoted fan bases, especially with Star Wars, I feel like these areas work and they create a new form of enjoying theme parks. We just touched on this, Rachel talked about it. Where I don't feel like this works is with Toy Story Land specifically. I saw it in March, and something about it just felt incomplete, which, like you said earlier, they might be expanding it, adding more things. I know there's going to be a new restaurant. In this particular instance with Toy Story Land is where I felt like a more generalized Pixar land could have been nice.
Yeah, for sure. I felt kind of the way that I get the feeling when I'm in Dino Land. Like, this is fun and it is immersive and you are in Dino Land. But I also feel like it could all be changed overnight because it just doesn't feel super permanent. It felt almost like somebody had traveled into town and set this up and here, enjoy this, you know?
That's how the one section of Dino Land's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a traveling roadside fair.
Yeah, with Dino Land, that's okay, but Toy Story Land, I wanted it to be more permanent.
Yeah. There's definitely not with Dino Land, there's not like a cohesive, but I feel like between the dinosaur ride and the entire Dino-Rama kind of thing, there's no meshing. It's kind of like this roadside fair and then like this learn about dinosaurs thing, and it's kind of odd.
Listen, you, don't you come for my Dino Land.
I love it. No, I'm saying I love it, but it's just, there's just a weird disconnection there.
Yeah, like, you're gonna love Dino Land and Hogsmeade for different reasons.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm really torn about this because, like, I cried when I walked into Hogsmeade. It was crazy to be in this story, to be in this movie that you've watched on screen how many times. Like, you are a part of it. And it's amazing. And Pandora is stunning. It's beautiful. It's breathtaking. And so I think if we hadn't had those, like, we would still just be getting like new attractions like Soarin', which is really cool, but it's just in a building. And so, like, I'm really grateful for those immersive experience we've gotten, but I feel like we're definitely moving away from like the magic of Adventureland and these original ideas like the Tiki Room and the Jungle Cruise and Pirates. And even like within those rides alone, like, we've seen Pirates become a film. So instead of just movies influencing the parks, we have seen parks influencing film, and they're making a Jungle Cruise movie. I just think we've seen like Disney trying to like double down on, well, instead of us just making profit from the Jungle Cruise in the parks, we could be making Jungle Cruise profits elsewhere. And instead of us just making profits from Toy Story on like in the cinemas, we can be making Toy Story profits in the park. And I think a large part of that comes down to Bob Chapek. So in 2011, he became the head of consumer products for Disney. And he served in that role until 2015. He became the leader in Walt Disney Parks and Resorts and consumer products. So now you have this one person, Bob Chapek, in charge of parks and resorts and consumer products.
That's a lot. So much of that company.
Right. So since 2015, I think we've seen those two worlds coming together more and more and more.
Yeah, definitely. It's like pay your money to go see this movie and then pay more money to go live in this movie and this experience. Yeah, I totally get that.
I think like people were like riding Pirates of the Caribbean before, and then they made the movie and people were like, oh, I have to go back and like ride the ride again. And then they were buying more merch because now the merch matches the movies instead of just matching the ride. And it's this endless cycle of profits. So it's really, really smart. If you are a a shareholder in Disney, what Bob Chapek is doing is genius. If you're just like a traditional Disney fan and like you like old school, like Tomorrowland and the Carousel of Progress, like he might not be your favorite person.
Right. Yeah. Do you guys remember when before Pirates came out, it was like a sure thing 5-minute line in and out. Like you could always go ride Pirates no matter what. I mean, even though it was a classic, like it has a large, ride capacity, a lot of boats going through it. Well, like even when there were a good amount of people in line and on the ride, like the queue was, 15 minutes long. And I remember after the movies came out, it was like a 2-3 hour wait. They didn't change anything. This was before they put the Jack Sparrow animatronic in. And it was just like an outrageous line. And I get it. Business wise, I get it. Like you said, like the shareholders, I'm sure they're thrilled. But like as a diehard Disney company and Disney parks especially fan, I don't want to wait that long to see something that I always loved. Like I'm glad other people are appreciating it, but I just don't feel like they're appreciating it for what it is. They're appreciating it for
what it's become.
This
the movie they
piece
saw.
of livable merchandise that it has become.
Like, can you guys think of the last original non-Disney movie-based thing we got in the parks?
Soarin'.
Yeah, that was the last thing I could think of. I feel like there's something more recent.
Oh, shit,
but I can't.
Test Track, but
Yeah.
you see what they've done with that, so we won't go there.
Garbage.
I'm really curious to see how quickly Disney starts moving the properties they gained in the Fox acquisition into the parks. Because I've already heard rumors about like the musing character. Like now Disney owns the characters of Ice Age. So like those characters could have a place in Animal Kingdom, which just feels so wrong. It feels so wrong.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, one of the things that I appreciate about like Expedition Everest is that it is educational and it is.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's like not an IP based. It's original and it like defines part of that park.
But it's probably not selling as much merch as Frozen Ever After is.
It definitely isn't. But I will cry if they retheme that.
I don't foresee Joe Rohde letting that happen. I don't know if he has and how much swing he has with how things stay, but I can't foresee him.
I see him strapping himself to the Yeti before he lets that happen.
The non-working Yeti.
Yeah.
So, moving along to the next question. We kind of touched on this, but if you could add a new themed land to any park, what would you want to see? Would you add that to an existing park, or would you create an entirely new park for that? And would you want to go more specific or more generalized?
I want Wakanda.
That would be so cool.
I heard there were all these rumors when they closed Rafiki's Planet Watch that they were going to build Wakanda there because it makes you take the train out of like Africa and you enter Wakanda.
Yes.
Like it would be amazing.
You could like pass through this like invisible looking fence.
Right?
That like shimmers when you pass. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, I just had to look up what Wakanda was.
It would be sick. So I'm sad that they I'm happy for the animals that benefit from Rafiki's Planet Watch, but I'm sad for my Marvel fan heart.
What could have been?
We're not getting Wakanda.
Oh, I'm so glad Planet Watch is staying.
Maybe someday. I would say the other land I would really like to see. I know they're getting it in parks across the pond. I would love to have seen Arendelle in Walt Disney World.
Just not in Norway.
Yeah, I think if they had built Arendelle in the Magic Kingdom back in New Fantasyland, I think it would have fit really well, and I think it would have been lovely. All of the little Elsas and Annas in their dresses could have like run around and been so happy instead of stealing my Norway from me.
Yo, they could have done that. Like, I hate to say this, but they could have done that instead of putting the Tron ride over there in that area.
Hold up. The Tron ride is going to be sick.
But you can take the Tomorrowland Speedway. Go ahead
Yeah,
and
for
have
sure,
it
yeah.
and build me Arendelle.
Yes.
Well, see, I would have hated Arendelle. I would have been one of the people who absolutely like just railed against it and would never go, because that's one of the instances where I think putting an IP is stupid. I do think in, a couple years down the road, Arendelle is just going to be another princess movie. Like, I think it would have to make an entire section.
No, I'm sorry. It broke every like princess record. If it was so much more popular than Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. I'm not even a big Frozen fan, but I think if they have a spot in the park,
I mean, I think Frozen could have had a section, a spot in the park, but not a section. Like if they had put it in New Fantasyland and had kind of like Belle, the Beauty and the Beast section where you've got the restaurant,
like that size
not its
land.
own land. It's its own area for sure. Maybe like a restaurant and a ride.
I like have Elsa's ice castle and then something else.
Yeah, no, I was picturing like a Beauty and the Beast size.
I can see that. That'd be really pretty.
I'm excited to see what they do with it, because I mean, you know how I feel about Frozen, but I think I would actually think that was cool, like walking up and like seeing like the castle, like seeing the fountain in front of the castle and all that, and I think it would be cool to feel like I'm in the movie with Stinky Elsa.
So I would really love to see a villains themed area. Nearly every Disney movie has a villain, and I think some of those villains are super beloved. I mean, they have a following. I think it could be easily fit into the Magic Kingdom part, kind of near Fantasyland, maybe like play off of like be the opposite of Fantasyland and just be like this like dark villainous land.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. And we rest in peace, but what was it called? Sweet Spells used to be like all villains themed, and I loved it. And I know that people love that. People love a villain. They love a good villain. So I think that would be a very successful section, if not its own park.
Yeah, I think that would be a good section too, because again, like it could evolve. Like you get new beloved villains, add them into that section. Like they've got a place to go.
You could have Dr. Facilier's like voodoo shop and have
Ooh.
But I also wish like they could just integrate more villains like into the park, because like their stories all exist in the parks already, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like I would like to see Dr. Facilier in New Orleans Square more. I like his influence, like his presence to be a little bigger. Yeah, I think if they couldn't give us a villain's land, like just a stronger villain's presence in the parks would be cool, as opposed to just at like special events.
Yeah.
Special events that you have to buy like a $200 ticket for 3 hours, which is absurd.
As long as they're selling those tickets, we're never going to get a section of the park, because that is such a big moneymaker. Because
they
people
love
are going to go
to
that. Like it is popular. They do want it. Yeah. So they're going to pay the money to go.
Damn you, Bob Chapek!
Bob.
Right? I need to buy stock, because he is just...
He's a
like,
moneymaker.
Everything he's doing is like gaining
He is
profits.
shaking his money maker.
Yeah. He's good at it too.
Rachel, what would you like to see?
I would take, honestly, and maybe just, I don't know, maybe a bigger section, but I would take a Ratatouille whole ass land. Like, I don't know, but I'm so obsessed with Ratatouille. Every time it comes on TV, I turn it on, and Josh is like, "Oh my God, you're watching that again?" I'm like, yes, yes, I am. I just think that you could do a lot with it, because you could have a Gusteau's and eat there. They're gonna have the little ride that they're gonna have, and they can do like a cooking thing or something like very interactive,
or like the animation courtyard instead of like drawing, have like a cooking class, and they could charge for that, because like obviously you're making a product. So it's not going to be free.
Like how they do the backstage tours, they could
cool.
just do like a cooking thing. That would be super fun. And they could do like, you could go eat at the restaurant.
I'm surprised they don't have a cooking class at Disney.
They have one at Downtown Disney at one of the like suites shop places. I think it's like 135-ish per person. They only do like 5 slots. Like it's very selective. And you like bake
Oh, that's
bake and decorate a
fun.
whole cake.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have like something where you can learn to go and cook your favorite like Disney meals.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, if they made like a Gusteau's restaurant, whatever, like they could teach you how to make their ratatouille or something like that.
Ooh, yeah, like every hour they could have a class and you could make ratatouille.
Yeah, my mom and I made ratatouille the last time I was visiting back at home, and it was so much fun. We ended up taking a picture of she has like a little Remy doll. We took a picture of it next to the ratatouille. It was a lot of fun.
But Rachel, if you ever like get the chance to go to Disneyland Paris, they do have like a Ratatouille land almost. They do have like a Gusteau's restaurant, and you can meet Remy and his cousin, brother, friend, the other brother. I haven't watched it as many times as Rachel, but yeah, I'm excited to see what comes to the France Pavilion. I wonder if after they get that ride in, if they'll make other changes. Yeah, I feel like it would be so easy to just like rename one of those restaurants Gusteau's.
Holy shit! Yes,
it's already French food. Just rename it. You're welcome, Disney, for the grand idea. That is like cost effective, guaranteed success. People eat there anyway. You're really not doing much.
I mean, I would actually eat there if they changed the name.
And they would have to serve ratatouille.
And that special soup.
Mm-hmm. So I originally said that I want a Hercules Land.
You love that movie so much.
I love Hercules. And I just think it'd be a cool, like, really cool themed land. Do like ancient Greece as a land. It'd be awesome. But I actually think like a good classics land would be awesome, with like all the classics, not even just like the 90s movies that we know and love, but like some of the like Alice in Wonderland and I know that's like Fantasyland, but
well, Katie, I have a great surprise for you. If you walk in Magic Kingdom and just go like straight through the castle, I think you'll be very pleased.
Okay, this was a bad example, but the movies that didn't get like a lot of attention, you know, Hercules, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Tarzan, all of that, who had presence in the park at one time, and I'm not talking about like a massive land, but you know, maybe like something like New Fantasyland, where you've got like little sections for some of those really good classic movies, really beautiful movies that can be made into some cool attractions and shows and things. And I think it would really appeal to 90s babies who have like this disposable income, who are not having kids at this insane rate right now. And they're the ones spending the money on them. So like make things that they want, you know? So I just think that would be a good business move. And
I really appreciate how they did. Like they changed the Swiss Family Robin's treehouse out there to the Tarzan thing. Like I really loved that, and I wish that they would do that in Orlando.
Well, that's like a perfect example of something that like today when I go with my niece and nephew, they have no idea who the Swiss Family Robinson is. Like they don't know that story. I mean, I barely knew that story. I think I read the book once when I was little, but like Tarzan is much more relevant. I think that was a good addition.
So, fun fact that I saw today, It's a Small World in Magic Kingdom is going to be getting Disney characters added to it.
Yay!
That's awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, I am on board with that kind of IP integration because you're keeping the original classic attraction that everyone knows and loves, and it's not going anywhere. You're just adding in characters to appeal to these, you know, younger kids who don't give two shits about Small World. Yeah. Or, you know, like, hell, I'm going to be pumped to see, like, Lilo and Stitch in Hawaii, you know? So, like, you keep everybody happy. Like, you keep your original classic and you add in things that are going to appeal to a wider audience. Why can't they just do that with everything?
So well in Disneyland. I love the characters in It's a Small World in Disneyland.
It looks so good. It looks like they've been there forever. And it makes it really fun.
To find them and point them out. It was an article, like, ahead of the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, which is in 2021, they want to have these new characters added in by that time.
Yeah, and I think it might have been Disneyland Paris had like Moana, the Hawaii section. And yeah, so like it doesn't take long for like a new movie to come out and for you to like build a little Small World doll and throw it in, you know? Like it's a quick, fast, like pretty cost-effective way to like bring these new IPs into the parks without like replacing old ones.
Yeah, and like again, we've discussed several times, when you're making something new or like adding or like it needs to be able to evolve. And that's a great way to be like, okay, we've got a new character, right, let's put it in.
It's non-intrusive what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's not changing out an entire land for something fictional. It's just adding these little cute tiny characters that are designed to fit into It's a Small World. They're not life-size. You don't see like a life-size Ariel floating around there. She's a cute little doll that just sits there and blends in, you know? I think that's really cool.
So if you look at the four of us as a group, rarely agree on a decision that Disney makes. Usually it's like, I mean, you know, and that's fine. Like, we're a pretty good, like, judge of what this decision, you know, where this decision is going to go, because we don't agree on much. But we absolutely agree that Maelstrom should have never been replaced, and that this small world integration is a great idea. So, like, you know, like, there are some sure winners. They've got to know. They got to be able to look at that and be like, okay, well, this is a great idea, and this was shit.
But it made the money, so that's our best. So I don't know if this is really going to make them extra money, but I'm glad they're doing it anyway.
Yeah, because there's not an It's a Small World gift shop. It's just good stuff.
Yeah.
I want one, though. That'd be a gift shop I'd actually, like, enjoy getting off the ride and going into.
Yeah, this is really interesting that, like, they're making this decision that's probably going to cost them more money than it's going to make them. Like, they're not selling merch with, like, the Ariel.
Oh, just do
like,
it.
Small World. I know, they probably will. They'll probably build a gift shop as we're saying this. But yeah, like, they replaced Maelstrom so they could sell more Frozen merchandise. You know, like, it was all like part of this cycle to like increase profits. But this doesn't seem like it's a profit-driven decision. I mean, I'm sure it probably is, otherwise they wouldn't do it. But this just seems like a really nice decision for Disney fans who want to like have like an old beloved attraction updated a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's what this decision is about for sure. I think they kind of understand that a lot of there's been a lot of big changes, especially in the parks, and they know that can be kind of polarizing for people who don't like those changes. But, you know, here's something to make you happy, even though it's not really going to bring us in money. Like, it's going to bring in your happiness, which is in turn going to make you come to the parks and spend money. So everybody
I feel like
wins.
within the past few years, there's definitely been like a resurgence of love for these classic attractions and like the vintage feel, like how these attractions looked and felt when they opened. So I feel like they might be putting more effort into that, because I've definitely seen more It's a Small World merch just kind of distributed throughout the parks. I've come up with ears, there's keychains, pins, things like that, kind of like smaller stuff. But I could definitely see like those things are selling. So they're like, oh, well, let's put some money, put some effort back into this, which would in turn allow us to make more merch, which would make more sales. You know, they're not dumb.
Thank you, millennials.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about that longer than I thought we could. So let's move on to the next little topic. So we talked briefly on our thoughts about the recent changes that were made in Disney Springs in our Extinct Attractions episode. I kind of feel like this episode and the Extinct Attractions episode kind of go hand in hand, so you might want to listen to those back to back. But I wanted to know if you think any of that design aesthetic in Disney Springs, using the World of Disney change as an example, will be reflected in the parks in the future. Could you see a shift away from the Disney in-your-face-ness to more subtle, almost department store vibe, like what we got with World of Disney? I could see this in the new Epcot entrance update / Mouse Gear, and then possibly on the Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood Studios. What do you guys think?
Unfortunately, I definitely think that's where we're moving. And I think it could work in some instances. Like the Hollywood Boulevard, I think you could absolutely make that more like department store, Hollywood store theme kind of thing, and that would be fine. But like, I'm sorry, Mouse Gear is called Mouse Gear. Like, it needs to be.
I love how Mouse Gear is now. I like hearing the clock on the one, like hearing the ticking on the one section of the store, and seeing the like Mickey and Goofy and all of them done all like year wise. I think it could take like a steampunk kind of route. I don't know how well that would fit in with that area, but I could see that.
I mean, that would be cool as long as it's steampunk Disney and not just like, you know, whereas like World of Disney just feels like
it just like any Disney store that you would go into anywhere.
It doesn't feel like a World of Disney. It just feels like buy things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I said it on the Extinct Attractions episode that like my impression was that they tried to make Disney Springs like less Disney in your face to like bring in more locals who might just like, I mean, a lot of the locals are like, ugh, Disney. It just brings in crowds and bad drivers. But they wanted like those people to come and like go to the movies and go to the restaurants and spend time in Disney Springs in like some of these like really cool, like immersive environments, but not being so in your face that it's overwhelming and you just feel like you're like invading in this vacation zone. So I hope that it was just for that area in like the Disney Springs kind of channel. Because I think when you're in the parks, you know you're getting Disney in your face. Like that's what you want. That's what you're there for. You spent money to come into those parks and have Disney. Where in Disney Springs, it's like free admission. I think they wanted it to be more of like a local, just like shopping center as opposed to so in your face.
And that makes sense. Like I like that when you put it that way. Like that makes sense, but that still don't make me any happier that World of Disney is ugly.
Okay, so this is my last question, and then we will start wrapping everything up. If you could be an Imagineer for one day, and any changes, plans, or designs that you make will stay in the parks forever. They will not change. They will not be touched. What would you do?
Well, I'm passionate about mine, and I think that they need to swap Test Track, or I would swap Test Track back to the way that it was originally, because it is no longer a test track. It is garbage, and I do not care for it at all because it makes zero amounts of sense now. They didn't change the track or anything, and it just doesn't make
Bring back the
sense.
fried egg.
Right, bring back that damn egg so that y'all can see that it was really there, and I'm not kidding. I just don't like what they did. Like, it could have been a cool idea if they completely changed the track, but they left it the same. And so all the twists and turns and all this stuff, like all the room, they don't make sense anymore.
As an Imagineer for a day, I'm going to bring back Mickey's Toontown Fair in Magic Kingdom, revamp it a little bit. We also touched on this in the Extinct Attractions episode. Stephanie was saying that they took out Streets of America just before like this whole Instagram craze hit. So I feel like if you bring back Toontown Fair, make it so Instagrammable, make it so you feel like you're one of Mickey's friends walking through his house, make it even more interactive than it was before. I think it could be a lot of fun, and have like Mickey Mouse and Minnie kind of and the Fab Five interacting and walking around that little section of the park.
Living in Toontown as opposed to just standing and taking photos in Toontown.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And have it super immersive like they're doing with these other new additions, because I loved that land. I thought it was so cute.
I support that. I would enjoy that because I really liked. I don't remember going to Toontown in Orlando when I was a kid.
No.
I just don't remember it. But I remember when we went out to California together as grown-ass women having a ball over there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it
which
was
the
a blast.
Toontown in Disneyland it's pretty different from the one that was in Magic Kingdom. But I have so many pictures from my first trip to Disney World, like my sister and I going through Mickey and Minnie's house and doing all the things, and it was just so cute.
So I know that Epcot is like really focusing a lot right now on getting like Future World up to par to represent the future again before the 50th anniversary. But once they finish that, I would really like to see some more countries added to World Showcase, specifically like some more representation of South America. Because I feel like there's no representation of South America anywhere in, like, at all in Walt Disney World.
No, there's
Like,
not.
There wasn't any Africa.
Mhm.
But like Africa got its whole land in Animal Kingdom, so I feel like that kind of made up for it. And there's a big Asia section. There's a couple Asian countries in World Showcase, but like there's nothing about South America anywhere in Walt Disney World.
So true.
And when you have that many visitors from South America, like that would be such a popular section.
Yeah, I know they've talked about putting a Brazil pavilion in a couple of times, but I went to Peru last year and culture there was so cool. Just between like they've got like such different animals and architecture and cooking, like the food is good. We just like I just think that would like Peru would be a really cool addition to World Showcase. Or a llama in Animal Kingdom. Like I love me a llama. Give me a llama and an Emperor's New Groove thing. Like
Yes. People love Emperor's New Groove, and it doesn't get the love that it deserves. Like, I see so many like small shops, like Etsy shops and things like that, putting out Emperor's New Groove stuff because Disney doesn't do it. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to have like a small scale, like Machu Picchu kind of thing in Epcot that you could go and explore, kind of similar to where you can explore Morocco and Canada, like the little waterfall area in Canada and then the alleys in Morocco. It would be cool to kind of go like explore that little, well, not little, but like that thing.
I could make any changes or plans. I would move Arendelle to Magic Kingdom and give it its own area there, mostly to get it out of Norway, because I really could care less about Arendelle. It's a cute movie, whatever, but get it out of Norway, but keep everybody happy by putting it in Magic Kingdom. Revamp Maelstrom, make it more like modern and really tell the tale of like Norwegian culture and make it to where it can never be changed again. I would also expand Gorilla Falls and make it a whole great ape section with all 4 of the great apes, because very few places in the world have all 4 in their collection, and if anybody can do it and do it well, it'd be Disney.
What are all 4 great apes?
Gorillas, orangutans, chimpanzees, and bonobos.
I do not even know what a bonobo is. I got the other 3.
Very similar to a chimp. Look it up. They were actually closely related to bonobos than chimps. We're like 99 point something %.
But do they all belong in Africa?
All but the orangutan. But I mean, you could have that in a separate, it doesn't have to be all in that section.
That would be really cool.
I would definitely make it to where all 4 great apes would be represented at Animal Kingdom. It would be a big draw for zoo people. I know you guys are like, yeah, that's cool. But like for zoo people, it's like, oh my God, I have to go.
It would be super educational too.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say I'm very excited about all the changes coming to all the parks, especially Walt Disney World. I know a lot of this was us bitching about like, fuck you, Bob, and we don't want all this. Everything they do is going to be done well, and I'm sure we're going to love it. But we're diehard fans, so we're going to have
change is scary. Like, you don't know. Like, you just don't know, and that's why I'm just like about anything they want to do with Epcot, because I'm just like,
yeah, change is scary. But when you look at Disney's track record, let's exclude Frozen Ever After. Every other change has been kind of for the better, I guess. So
I would say that for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. A few exceptions, but I think we just have to have some faith in Disney. It's hard when you hear that something that you love is going to be changed because you love it and you have memories attached to that thing.
But don't worry, you can bitch about it for the next 8 years if you want.
Because we will.
Boy, we have.
We enjoy Frozen Ever After. We like going on Frozen Ever After, but we're still going to complain about it.
And you can find another great group of people who hate the same things you do and bitch about it with them. And we're all our own little community of complainers.
Yeah. If you agree with our complaints, complain with us. Like, just chat us up. So we'd love to know what you're thinking about the future of Disney parks. Any Disney park. We mostly talked about Walt Disney World with this one because we have the most experience and knowledge and feelings and emotions tied up with Walt Disney World. But we welcome your thoughts on your favorite park. We'd love to learn some more about those parks we don't know too much about. And here's how you can contact us.
You can email us. We still ain't got no damn emails. Email us you can email us at spillingthemadtea@gmail.com. Please.
You can also tweet us at spillingmadtea.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at spillingthemadtea.
Somebody please send Rachel an email.
Seriously, just one email. That's all we want.
I'm gonna say this at the end of every episode until somebody sends Rachel an email. It can be a family member.
No, I don't care who it is, because guess what? It's gonna be read on this podcast.
I'm calling out my sister Amy and my nephew Jackson. Send Rachel an email.
Send a fucking email.
Well, I think we earned our explicit rating on this episode.
Yeah, Rachel definitely got us our explicit rating on this episode. So thank you all so much for joining us. We look forward to reading an email from one of you guys, and we look forward to talking to you all really soon. Bye.